I'm now going to hand over to Dritan Kaleshi, who is Director of 5G Technology at Digital Catapult. Dritan's going to give a deeper insight into Sonic and its aim to go a bit more into the technology. So over to you, Dritan.
Thank you very much, Jess. Just bringing up the shared screen. Checking that everyone can see that.
Yes, that's fine.
Perfect. So good morning, everyone. And as Simon said, it's amazing to see so many of you joining us. Joe and Simon already covered that, and I'll pick up on very briefly on the three objectives that Simon laid out. Number one, the direct evaluation of the reality of the OpenRAN and its evolution roadmap towards a better shared understanding for the government, the regulator, and the industry of that particular evolution. The second objective that Simon mentioned is the enabling new vendors to participate in the UK ecosystem and the role that Sonic can play as a technically funded, commercially neutral facility to enable that thing to emerge. And also looking a bit on the longer term to be a testing ground for advanced technologies in the open networks as outlined in the Tech Futures report by Ofcom from the 14th of January. To expand on other use cases and other technology developments, and not just the radio access network. I'll endeavor to take you in the next 20 minutes or so on how we are going about it, and to introduce the Sonic implementation up to May 2021. To pick up again from what Joe said, this is not a concept or an idea anymore. Sonic is already designed to be an open platform for vendors and system integrators who wish to participate. And we're keenly looking forward to engage with as many of you as possible. And we have moved very fast indeed. The project started in November. It was announced at the beginning of December, and we intend to have a fully functional, operational 3 chains of OpenRAN by May 2021. One of the key reasons that we have moved so fast to build this program and the initial Sonic facility is the set of vendors that we have started to work with in this phase. And I deliberately would want to start with them. I want to refer to this amazing set of vendors and the system integrators that we are working in the first instance of Sonic. And with thanks on behalf of the whole Sonic program to every one of these particular players, and with an acknowledgement of their inputs to what we are talking about today, what we are currently doing to make the Sonic concept and the idea real, but also to the open and the enthusiastic engagement that they have had with us from the time that we discussed the idea with them, amongst many other ecosystem participants that we discussed at that time, to getting to our current integration stage. So thank you very much. We want Sonic to engage with companies with products at different maturation stages, and you'll see today in the panel that we effectively have a good representation of that, from products that are still under development to fully developed, ready to deploy managed solutions, and also looking to potentially different integration models and interfaces, and with different approaches to the deployment of the products going forward. We are deliberately focusing on the 5G at this stage, but the idea is to learn together with the vendors and the system integrators that we have in this phase of Sonic, as a larger team, the Sonic and the vendors, as to what goes on under the hood in the OpenRAN development at this particular stage, and across all of the development stages. We have not listed here our partners and suppliers on the core environment and the common infrastructure of the Digital Catapult testbeds. We currently use 4 different core networks who deserve a strong mentioning too, but we're keeping the focus deliberately on OpenRAN engagement today. So the question is, why are we picking up so strongly on interoperability and integration? In Sonic, as already mentioned by Joe and Simon, we share a firm belief that the softwareization of the network infrastructure is an unstoppable trend. And many of you will agree that the direction of the technical specifications in the broader industry and the standards supports this particular view. The side of this software-centric view makes interoperability particularly important because On one side, the implicit API interpretation in dependency on multi-vendor distributed systems makes the implementation, the verification of the implementation of these solutions particularly important. If you couple this with the speed of the development in pure software environments, that makes the interoperability the key link that makes these two processes go hand in hand together with a fast turnaround on testing and interoperability. So fundamentally for us, we see interoperability testing and implementability verification of standards and specifications as the key input into a software-driven standardization development process. And the one that, in our mind, can be seen as a lever to have an easier and a faster, potentially, input into the standardization process in a way that can be more quickly beneficial to developing and emerging vendors, as well as the established ones, of course, in the OpenRAN space. And in Sonic, we aim to build a commercially neutral, sustainable, permanent and evolving UK national capability program that uses the interoperability testing as the means to foster the emerging telecom supply chain in the UK and for the UK. We are deliberately starting, of course, with OpenRAN as a promising and reasonably specification mature technology. But it's also one of the most difficult areas in the cellular domain. At the same time, Sonic will offer the same development activity support in an end-to-end open network system in the technology development in that space in the midterm and not just in the RAN side of things. So what is Sonic? Sonic is a joint program between Digital Catapult and Ofcom to build this national capability, and it is in response to the telecom supply chain diversification objectives of the UK government as listed on the 5G diversification strategy published at the end of 2020. It is funded by the Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sports, and it evolves. As it evolves, it will incorporate other standards, standardized network technologies, which will focus on multi-vendor solutions and which will require interoperability integration. It is a combination of three components, and each one builds on top of one another. At the bottom one, and unashamedly so, is a technical facility that has a shared common network infrastructure, which will host as a live cellular network as the first tenant in a testbed form. This infrastructure is over-provisioned to allow for multi-tenancy. It's providing both indoor and outdoor operational environments, and with a designed ability to do scaling, experimentation and testing for, including for large outdoor representative networks. The second element of this that forms the core of the Sonic program is that Sonic will become a place for collaborative peer assist testing of product and solutions during the development stage of them, typically what people in innovation refer to technology readiness levels 5 to 7, which are outside of the research space, but they are not quite productized for selling. This will include delivery of testing programs with other vendors, equipments, and software in our infrastructure, and to really engage with vendors and solution providers to test their solutions and to almost not just co-test, but potentially co-develop, in particular in terms of interfaces, towards better system integration. Last but equally important for us, it will be a center for fostering the creation and the sharing of technical development knowledge in the UK with new technology solution capabilities and with a better understanding of experimentation with business model in an open, publicly funded environment. It is one of the centers for technical deployment knowledge and sharing in the open network, and it will work through acceleration programs, broad ecosystem engagements. It will work directly with the UK 5G, as well as other core national capabilities like the UK National Telecoms Laboratory and other activities. As we said, this is not a concept, we have currently been building it. So what does it look like? So the foundation of Sonic is the testbed infrastructure to take the testing from the bench to the field with real network and real traffic conditions testing. With our engaged vendors, we are building 3 OpenRAN chain demonstrators, replacing our 5G single RAN 5G network with these 3 chains connected to our 5G testbed network operations center in London, and with separate nodes in London, Ofcom Riverside House Emerging Tech Laboratory, in Future Networks Lab at Digital Catapult in London, as well as the 2 sites that we have our 5G testbeds with our 5G testbed partners in Brighton, which is Brighton Dome and Brighton Festival concert venue, and Wired Sussex at Fusebox. This particular diagram represents the 3 main components of the facility, which we will evolve further. The common infrastructure, an SDN-enabled fully virtualized compute with high capacity interconnect and the relevant management, as well as overlaying with an expansive test and measurement platform, which is currently leveraging what Digital Catapult has. We will also build a public indoor and outdoor representative cellular network, as shown with the distribution of the RUs and the DUs in the different locations. As you see from the diagram, the centralized units are all connected in London and hosted in our network operations center, where we also host the different core networks, standalone 5G core networks that we have. And we have the ability to distribute multi-DU RU swappability in all of the different locations. Unfortunately, until now, we don't have low latency, below 150 microsecond latency, to effectively test with a DU RU. So 1 DU multiple RU deployments, but we firmly have the intentions to effectively build that capability if going forward. As I said, we see it very important to be able to test in a real world condition, to take products under development from the lab to the field. And in order to do this, we are leveraging the 5G testbeds. And the 5G testbed at the Digital Catapult has been, we are very, very fortunate. And this is the second element that has allowed us to move very, very fast, because through our strategic partnerships, in particular with Brighton Dome and Brighton Festival and Wired Sussex, we have access to real indoor facilities, which, for example, on the top left corner, you see the Corn Exchange in Brighton Dome and Brighton Festival, which is a 1,000 square meter indoor multi-purpose area, an exhibition and concert hall with up to 800 seats, as an example of where testing of the technology can be done in a real environment. We have done a over-provisions with a infrastructure sharing neutral hosting environment, with the ability that we can host up to 3 different vendors simultaneously on that particular environment. On the other side, this represents a very important opportunity for the industry, for the policymaker, and for the regulator to link the technology development with its potential use. In a way, what we say at the Digital Catapult is to make the invisible, the infrastructure development and the technology that very, very few people genuinely care about. They want to buy it as a service, but we want to make that the invisible visible through early testing in a proper environment and connecting it with real applications and real users. Of course, what gets us going, technical people like me, is potentially a bit more on the picture on the right, which is a partial, a 1 rack only, a view of the Digital Catapult 5G testbed core, the network operations center. For Sonic, at this stage, we are leveraging, and we will expand significantly later on, an existing £2.5 million investment that allows us to leverage the geographically distributed testbed and the infrastructure that we have. We are operating on 3.4 to 3.8 gigahertz, and also we are expanding to the shared spectrum 3.8 to 4.2 in this space. So more specifically, what are the vendors doing with us in this space? This is a diagram of the 3 OpenRAN chains with the allocation of which vendor is effectively doing. We are looking for a 5G new radio OpenRAN chain, and specifically focusing on the 3GPP 7.2 split option. The first chain that you see, the ORAN chain 1 that you see at the top, is using Benetel radio units, a very well-known name in the OpenRAN testing space, interfacing with an extremely interesting split implementation solution by Fluido and Ethernet on a FAPI interface on the previous incarnation of that, which is controlled by a centralized unit by Acceleran, who are also providing their radio intelligent controller solution and also acting as an overall system integrator. You'll hear more from Federico that is on the panel from Acceleran on this, and very, very open to ask questions on that. The chain 2 is a fully developed managed solution by Mavenir on DU, CU, and RIC, interfacing with 3 different RUs, the Fujitsu and or NEC, Benetel, and Foxconn. The key interest here in this particular deployment is to learn from deployment and testing a mature solution, and even more so when we start playing around with the swappability of the components between the 3 different chains. And chain 3 is a Radisys distributed unit and centralized unit interfacing with the Benetel and the Foxconn RUs. These are connected back to a multi-core environment that where, as you can see, we're using Open5G core and Druid, but also we have 2 additional cores in discussions, commercial cores that will be part of the testing. The Digital Catapult and the Ofcom teams are working alongside with the 3 chains for the installation and the commissioning of this. It is part of our learning process, looking under the hood of this. It is again really satisfying to see the openness and the engagement from the cohort providers. It is effectively bodes extremely well for our work in the future, because part of the Sonic at this stage is also to test the methodology as how we can work in a commercially neutral environment with people at different stages of product development. Once the system integration is completed, we will be looking to testing swappability of components and to understand a bit better the choices made on the interface parameterization across the, effectively, as Simon mentioned, what choices vendors make on implementing the different standardized interfaces. The reports of that will be published as Sonic goes forward. If we are building and if we are going in this direction, we need to go, as everyone knows, until now in the UK, we have been primarily focusing on technology adoption, and technology adoption has been looking mostly on the performance of the systems end-to-end to support individual applications and use cases. Once you start looking further and more specifically into technology development, then the instrumentation and measurement platforms of the testbeds becomes paramount. And one of the things that we don't find easily in the existing testbeds, including ours, because it is both complex and relatively expensive, is this instrumentation. Sonic is, as I said before, unashamedly a technical facility, and with a clear focus to help companies during the development stages. And because of that, we will need to effectively build, and we are currently building, to overlay our proven testbed designs with an extensive test and measurement capability to move away from just end-to-end performance testing of demonstrations and applications, because whilst that is sufficient for technology adoption, it is not enough for the technology development. Having said that, Sonic will build test house capabilities, but it is not going to be a commercial test house. It is not intended to provide certification, because we feel at this moment that this goes against the spirit of enabling companies to co-work together and to develop products faster in a community testing environment with technical support. Our capability, in a way, we say that we will use our capability in a peer assist and not in a peer assess or peer review or in an examination way. And the idea is how to build an end-to-end instrumentation platform that can take us from lab bench testing of wherever it is necessary for conformance, but primarily or interoperability, to field testing. And when we look at the technical engagement in Sonic, the core of it is this particular thing. It is what we are building and operating the facility for. Whilst the engagement evolves around being able to support the UK and other network technology vendors internationally that want to engage with Sonic, what we see Sonic to offer is to engage on both individual components in OpenRAN, RU, DU, CU, RIC, and RIC applications later on in terms of management, but also for subsystems like we are seeing in some of the vendors already engaged, DU, CU, and RIC integrated together with different radio units, both in a lab environment and in a field environment. We anticipate and we expect and we encourage people to engage with Sonic to co-test, and we are building Sonic with this in mind. For example, we will focus primarily on interoperability. Conformance testing is very, very often a prerequisite for interoperability testing. I need to know that you are speaking the correct syntax before I can test the meaning of what you are saying. That is fine. But we will only support a subset of compliance testing to get us to the interoperability in order to be able to graduate companies towards more interoperability testing and ready for product integration later on. We also will be looking for developing insights into the security and resilience testing. But because the mission of Sonic is to support mid-development technology companies in the UK, being able to look at the security is necessary if you are looking at the interoperability and the integration of the products. But we anticipate very, very firmly that for in-depth testing in this space, we will collaborate and we will rely with other UK-based national capability centers that will be specialized in this particular area. The last and the key thing for Sonic is how do we work with a telecoms ecosystem? In a way, Sonic will sit between the government, working with the regulator to underpin their emerging technologies engagement, delivering a better understanding and linking and translating the technology development into the policymakers, as well as on the regulator side, which of course Simon already outlined. But it's very, very much part of the telecommunication ecosystem. It is working. Sonic is working with the entire telecoms ecosystem in the UK, both UK-specific entities and global organizations. We have been engaging already with key stakeholders as we have developed the initial plan and the current Sonic project funded by the Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sports, who we thank very, very much. We have also engaged with most of the vendors of products suitable for OpenRAN development. This has helped us shape until now what we are doing in terms of the technical aspects and the way to work in the project. But as we look at the longer term evolution of Sonic, we'll be spending more time with the various stakeholders and with a focus on identifying their specific challenges, and for individual stakeholders in the ecosystem, new vendors, existing vendors, network operators, network providers, system integrators, to understand their specific problems and challenges to be solved in the manageability side, in the resourcing of the products, in the ability to increase the credibility and the testing and the understanding of the deliverability of the roadmaps of the products in an open way, and leveraging this for the diversification of the supply chain objectives that the government currently have. A part of that will be to include and to use Sonic as part of the engagement with the broader ecosystem to unlock the investment in telecoms, and for Sonic to provide the evidence into that process, working with other partners. We will continue to co-develop the program and the process with the Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sport, and also with the UK National Telecoms Laboratory, as it was particularly mentioned in the telecom supply chain 5G diversification strategy. We are also developing that in partnership with other global organizations like the Telecom Infra Project, discussions with OpenRAN, and also with standardization development organization like ETSI and 3GPP, where Digital Catapult is a member of, in order to ensure that there is a pathway for the learnings through the interoperability testing and implementability verification into those organizations, and to ensure that there is a strong link to UK and international to leverage and share both ways. Another point that we want to make is that neutrality in the technology and commercial terms is particularly important for Sonic, and a particular contribution coming from Sonic as Digital Catapult and Ofcom into the ecosystem, in the telecom ecosystem, including the OpenRAN development. And it is something that Sonic has at its center. We see Sonic very much adding direct value from this perspective, from the neutrality, both in technology and commercial terms, to the existing well-developed standards, both industry and commercial activities, the ORAN Alliance, TIP, ETSI, MNOs, testing, and others. As with all things that Digital Catapult does, and Ofcom in its regulatory capacity does anyway as well, we're looking for barriers and working how to help and engage to solve them together in order to accelerate the uptake of the new technology with new vendors, new products, swappability, and new business models. Finally, in the Evolve Sonic program, we want to be able to accelerate the product development cycle, identifying new products and vendors. And we will do that through ongoing discussions, outreach programs, events, and dedicated acceleration programs looking in specific areas. And for example, looking at XApp RIC enabled applications or multi-vendor integration OSS solutions in the longer run. The product then will be integrated and tested. People that will come into Sonic, they will, to use a simple word, they will graduate towards a product testing, towards TRL 8 and 9, be ready for testing in other test centers and capabilities, including mobile network operators, network providers, and through this particular commercial neutrality, it can solve issues that other bodies cannot. It is something that we are consulting widely, and we are inviting you today to let us know your views and how we can collaborate together. Sonic is also something that is going through we are starting with OpenRAN, but it is not, the telecom diversification and softwareization doesn't happen only in the RAN space. And it was indeed a struggle for us to fit everything in this side to give a sense of what we'll be looking at in terms of the open networking technologies, because we are only starting with the OpenRAN. Looking beyond the joke and trying to fit everything in and speaking seriously, the objective for Sonic is to help companies during this development cycle. And whilst the challenges that we have listed in this slide and in this topic will be addressed by different vendors and different initiatives and capabilities in the UK and internationally, Sonic will firmly seek to evolve to support these activities through testing in these areas for companies in this development cycle as part of the ecosystem, and in particular looking at multi-vendor interoperability testing and integration. Of course, these things will shift around, and these are the sort of things that the industry is looking at. We will effectively, what we will do at different times will depend on stakeholder engagement, market drivers and capabilities, and it will be part of our ongoing consultation with you to take this forward. To close, we are inviting everyone to become part of Sonic. It's a joint program between the Digital Catapults, will be operational in May 2021, due in part because we are working with some amazing partners, but they are the first cohort of people that we are engaging with. Sonic is independent, commercially neutral, and open for engagement in the network disaggregation solutions to everyone. Whilst it is telecommunications technology focus, we want to use the learnings that we have to provide up-to-date technical information to policymakers as well as to the regulator itself in a way that helps the UK to achieve its strategic objectives in the future open networks. And I want to thank you very much for joining us today and leading into the panel. Questions around what we have heard now will be part of the panel. We are looking forward to have you involved in Sonic, and please get in touch, and you'll have you'll find the ways to get in touch with the team through the link in this website, and also through direct means, because most of the people in the call and in the audience will know the participants and the drivers of the Sonic call. So thank you very, very much.